The Meridian Empire's flagship, Eternal Radiance, emerged from hyperspace like a crystal sculpture coming to life. Admiral Zarix stood on the command deck, their bioluminescent form casting prismatic patterns across the polished surfaces. The ship's quantum sensors had detected something impossible, an energy signature that defied the fundamental laws of physics. "Report," Zarix commanded, their crystalline voice resonating through the bridge. "Unknown vessel detected, Admiral," First Observer Velix announced. "Energy readings are concerning. They appear to be generating power through means our systems cannot classify." On the main view screen, a human vessel hung in space. It was a patchwork of metals and alloys, its hull bearing the name U.S. Serendipity. Compared to the Eternal Radiance's seamless crystalline architecture, it looked like a child's attempt at spacecraft construction. "Open communications," Zarix ordered. The face that appeared on their screen belonged to a human woman with dark skin and laugh lines around her eyes. She was wearing what appeared to be a decorated uniform, though a splash of pink substance stained one sleeve. "Captain Maya Chen of the U.S. Serendipity," she announced cheerfully. "Sorry about the delay in responding. We were in the middle of a minor engineering crisis. Nothing to worry about, though." Zarix's bioluminescence flickered with barely contained disdain. "This is Admiral Zarix of the Meridian Empire. Your vessel is operating in restricted space using unregistered technology. Explain your power source immediately." "Oh, that." Captain Chen grinned. "Funny story, actually. We had this frozen yogurt machine in the mess hall that kept overclocking itself. Our engineer, Dr. Park, figured out it was accidentally creating the sustained fusion reaction through the dairy crystallization process. We hooked it up to the main power grid, and well," she shrugged, "now we've got the most efficient propulsion system in the fleet. Would you like some strawberry swirl? The machine makes way more than we can eat." The bridge of the Eternal Radiance fell silent. Zarix's crystalline form vibrated with confusion. You are powering an interstellar vessel with a frozen dessert dispenser." "Well, technically it's frozen yogurt. The probiotics make all the difference in the quantum stability." Captain Chen's smile widened. "Dr. Park has a whole theory about how the bacterial cultures affect subspace fields. She wrote her thesis on it. Won a Nobel Prize, too." First Observer Velix's voice was strained. "Admiral, our scans confirm. Their power source appears to be a modified food preparation device. The energy efficiency ratings are beyond anything in our databases." "Impossible," Zarix declared. "Your species has barely achieved faster-than-light travel. You cannot have discovered sustainable fusion through frozen dairy products." "To be fair, we didn't discover it on purpose," Chen admitted. "We were just trying to fix the machine's temperature regulation. The fusion was a happy accident. Though I have to say, it makes the strawberry flavor really pop." At that moment, the Serendipity's hull briefly glowed with a pink iridescent field. Captain Chen glanced off-screen. "Oh, looks like the afternoon batch is ready. We always get a little power surge during the freeze cycle." She turned back to the screen. "Would your crew like to come aboard for a tour? Dr. Park would love to explain the quantum yogurt theory. And we just got a new flavor in, subspace swirl. It's quite popular." Zarix, leader of the most technologically advanced fleet in 3 sectors, found themselves at a loss for words. Their species had spent millennia perfecting fusion technology, and these humans had accomplished it with a malfunctioning dessert machine. "Your engineering practices defy all known scientific principles," they finally managed. "Oh, you haven't seen anything yet," Chen laughed. "Wait until you hear about what happened when we tried to fix the coffee maker with rubber bands and paper clips. Turns out we accidentally created a stable wormhole. We mainly use it for supply runs now. Really cuts down on grocery shopping time." The Admiral's crystalline form flickered with what might have been the first signs of an existential crisis. These humans weren't just breaking the laws of physics. They were doing it with snack food and office supplies. "We will consider your invitation," Zarix said carefully. after our scientists have reviewed the data. Take your time, Chen replied cheerfully. The yogurt's not going anywhere. Well, except for powering our ship through space-time. But you know what I mean. As the communication ended, Czar X turned to their bewildered crew. Contact the Science Ministry immediately. I need to know how a species that still uses adhesive strips for repairs has managed to revolutionize fusion technology with dairy products. First observer Valix's response was barely audible. Sir, according to our latest scans, they're now using the waste heat from the yogurt machine to make something called hot chocolate. The energy readings are ascending into dimensions we didn't know existed. Zarix's crystalline form dimmed slightly. They had a feeling this was going to be a very long day. The Meridian Empire's annual navigation championships were legendary, a display of pilot precision that drew spectators from 12 galaxies. This year, however, something unprecedented had occurred. The humans had entered. Admiral Zarix watched from their crystalline observation pod as the U.S. Serendipity's pilot, Lieutenant Sarah Wong, prepared for her qualifying run. The course was designed to test the limits of both ships and pilots, a maze of quantum anomalies, gravitational distortions, and space-time knots that had been carefully engineered over centuries. Their control interface appears to be antiquated, First Observer Velix noted with diplomatic restraint. Indeed, Lieutenant Wong was holding what appeared to be a plastic controller with colorful buttons. A screen nearby displayed what looked suspiciously like an antique Earth gaming system's startup sequence. Hey, don't knock the classics, Wong called out over the comm. Mario Kart taught me everything I know about drift mechanics. Before Zarix could formulate a response appropriate to their station, the signal for the qualifying run began. The Serendipity shot forward, its yogurt-powered engines humming with a strangely musical tone. They're approaching the quantum maze, Velix reported, their crystalline form vibrating with anticipation. No human vessel has ever successfully. Wong's fingers danced across the controller. The Serendipity barrel rolled through a quantum anomaly, drifted around a temporal eddy, and power slid through a gravitational sinkhole. On her screen, pixelated graphics display power-ups and boost indicators. Did she just? Zarix's voice trailed off. Use a gravitational wave as a speed boost ramp. Yes, Admiral. Velix's tone suggested they were seriously reconsidering several fundamental assumptions about space-time navigation. Wong's voice crackled over the comm, punctuated by the sound of someone opening a can. Sorry, just need a quick energy drink. These rainbow roads get pretty intense. Rainbow roads? Zarix questioned. Old Earth reference, Wong explained, taking a long sip. Trust me, after you've mastered the original Rainbow Road without falling off, these quantum mazes are pretty straightforward. Though I have to say, your gravity wells have better graphics. The Serendipity continued its run, breaking 3 course records and several laws of physics. Wong hummed what sounded like vintage video game music, occasionally hitting buttons that made satisfying beeping sounds. Their navigation computer, one of the Meridian technical observers reported, appears to be running on something called Nintendo 64 architecture. Oh yeah, Wong confirmed. We found out the quantum processor really vibes with retro gaming systems. Something about the simple binary calculations creating perfect harmony with space-time fluctuations. Plus, the rumble feature gives great feedback on subspace distortions. The Meridian technical team watched in horror as their holographic course indicators were replaced with what appeared to be floating question mark boxes and banana peels. Lieutenant, Zarix managed, did you just modify our quantum navigation markers into game power-ups? Makes it more fun, Wong shrugged, executing a perfect drift around a temporal anomaly. Though I have to say, your blue shells are way more aggressive than the original. As the Serendipity crossed the finish line, setting a new course record, the Meridian observers sat in stunned silence. Their most sophisticated navigation challenge had just been conquered by a human using technology that predated their species' discovery of electricity. Would anyone like to try? Wang offered, holding up a second controller. We've got multiplayer mode. First observer Felix leaned closer to Zarix. Admiral, our junior pilots are requesting permission to call next game. Zarix watched as their carefully organized championship descended into what appeared to be an impromptu gaming tournament. Pilots from a dozen species were now clustered around Wang's station, arguing about controller configurations and sharing energy drinks. I don't suppose, Zarix asked with what remained of their dignity, you could explain how this is technically possible. Oh, that's easy, Wang replied, tossing them a controller. The quantum realm really just wants to have fun. Now watch out for the blue shells. They're brutal in the asteroid belt section. The Meridian Grand Assembly Hall buzzed with tension. Representatives from 30 spacefaring civilizations had gathered to address what the Meridians called the human question. At the center of the controversy was Dr. Emily Patel, Earth's chief mathematician, who was currently doodling equations on a pizza box. The human continues to desecrate sacred mathematical principles, high theorist invincible announced, their crystalline form pulsing with indignation. They claim to have solved the quantum harmony theorem using food containers and recreational stimulants. Dr. Patel looked up from her work, a smear of tomato sauce on her sleeve. Actually, the pizza box was just handy. The real breakthrough came during game night. Turns out Jenga has fascinating implications for quantum stability calculations. The assembly erupted in mathematical outrage. The quantum harmony theorem had stumped the greatest minds in the galaxy for millennia. It was considered the key to perfect space-time navigation, and humans had apparently solved it while playing table games. Demonstrate your solution, invincible demanded. Show us how these primitive recreational activities led to enlightenment. Sure thing, Patel agreed cheerfully. Anyone have a deck of cards? And maybe some coffee? The quantum math gets a bit fuzzy without caffeine. A junior diplomat nervously provided Earth-standard playing cards. Patel began arranging them in a pattern that seemed random to the observers, but apparently made perfect sense to her. See, traditional approaches to quantum harmony tried to force order onto chaos, she explained, shuffling cards between sips of coffee. But we realized, thanks to a particularly intense game of 52 pickup, that chaos itself has patterns. Watch this. She flicked a card, starting a chain reaction that sent the entire deck cascading into a perfect fractal pattern. The cards hung suspended in the air, their arrangement somehow visualizing complex quantum equations. The ace of spades represents quantum uncertainty, she continued, while the face cards show probability matrices. The real trick is understanding how they interact, which we figured out during a poker tournament when someone spilled energy drinks on the ship's navigation computer. The assembly watched in stunned silence as she used playing cards to demonstrate solutions to mathematical problems that had puzzled their civilizations for generations. Several theoretical mathematicians had to be escorted out when she explained how a children's card game called Old Maid perfectly modeled quantum entanglement. And that's basically it, Patel concluded, gathering up the cards. Though I should mention the really interesting stuff happened when we combined this with our frozen yogurt reactor calculations. Turns out dairy products have fascinating quantum properties. Who knew? First observer Felix leaned toward Admiral Zarix. Sir, our verification computers are. They're confirming her calculations. Using casino probability algorithms and Earth dairy products, they've solved the fundamental puzzle of quantum navigation. Would anyone like to try it themselves? Patel offered, shuffling the deck. We could start with something simple, like Go Fish. It's surprisingly relevant to understanding wormhole dynamics. As the assembly dissolved into chaos, with dignified representatives arguing over card game rules and quantum mathematics, Admiral Zarix watched their carefully ordered universe reorganize itself around human chaos theory. Dr. Patel, they asked carefully, Are you suggesting that your species has been advancing faster than light technology through games of chance? Oh, not just games of chance, she replied, dealing cards to a group of fascinated quantum physicists. Wait until you see what we discovered about cosmic string theory using calf's cradle. Though I should warn you that one requires at least 3 energy drinks to fully comprehend. Chief Engineer Raj Kumar stood in the U.S. Serendipity's kitchen, staring at what had once been a standard food replicator. The machine was now wrapped in rubber bands, decorated with paper clips, and somehow generating a small pocket universe. So, Captain Chen asked, watching a cup of coffee simultaneously exist in 3 quantum states, want to explain how this happened? Well, Kumar began, scratching his head. We were trying to fix the replicator's protein sequencer. You know how it keeps turning everything into toast. Jackson had this theory about using rubber bands to stabilize the quantum matrix. And the paperclips. Those were Sandra's idea. She said if we arranged them in a Fibonacci sequence, they might help channel the quantum flux. Turns out she was right, just not in the way we expected. The kitchen had become a point of intense interest for the Meridian scientists. They hovered around the modified replicator, their crystalline forms reflecting the strange quantum distortions it was producing. This device, lead scientist Ixtel observed, is generating quantum fields that our most advanced laboratories cannot replicate, using office supplies. And don't forget the chopsticks, Kumar added proudly. They're essential for stabilizing the quantum harmonics, though we're still not sure why they only work if they're unused. Something about quantum observation and potential energy, probably. A bowl of soup appeared on the replicator pad, existing in 5 dimensions simultaneously. A junior engineer casually reached through a small time distortion to add salt. Your species, Ixtel stated, their crystalline form vibrating with barely contained scientific frustration, has created a quantum manipulation device using items from your office supply storage. Well, when you put it that way, it sounds simple, Kumar protested. The real breakthrough was figuring out how to stop it from turning everything into quantum toast. Turns out you just need to hum the right frequency. We use Stayin' Alive by the Bee Gees. The quantum field really vibes with disco. At that moment, the replicator made a sound like a cat purring in reverse, and a perfect cup of Earl Grey tea materialized, along with what appeared to be its quantum wave function made visible. Fascinating, one of the Meridian observers noted, scanning the tea. The quantum state of this beverage suggests it exists in all possible perfect brewing temperatures simultaneously. Yeah, that happens sometimes, Kumar shrugged. Last week it made a sandwich that was simultaneously fresh and aged to perfection. The temporal paradox really brings out the flavor in the pastrami. Captain Chen sipped her dimensionally complex coffee. Any chance you could make it stop creating those tiny pocket universes? The last one started developing intelligent life, and now we have to schedule interdimensional peace talks during lunch breaks. Working on it, Kumar assured her. Though I have to say, the beings from Universe 3B make excellent suggestions for the menu. They evolved in a quantum state of perpetual brunch. The Meridian scientists were now deeply engaged in analyzing what appeared to be a bagel that existed in 11 dimensions. Several of them had already begun taking notes on the quantum properties of cream cheese. This defies every known law of physics, Ixtel declared. Oh, that's nothing, Kumar grinned. Wait until you see what happens when we try to make pizza. The quantum toppings exist in a superposition until you observe them. Makes for some interesting combinations. Last week, Dr. Park got a pizza that was simultaneously Hawaiian and anti-Hawaiian. The paradox was delicious. As if on cue, the replicator hummed the first few bars of Stayin' Alive and produced what appeared to be a club sandwich that was somehow also a quantum computer. Lunch anyone? Kumar offered. Fair warning. The potato salad might solve differential equations while you eat it. The combined fleet of human and Meridian ships faced what the scientists were calling a catastrophic space-time anomaly. In simpler terms, reality was unraveling like a sweater caught on a temporal nail. Admiral Zarix and Captain Chen stood on the bridge of the eternal radiance, watching the swirling vortex of quantum instability that threatened to consume 3 solar systems. Our calculations indicate, Felix reported, that conventional methods of containing the anomaly will fail. The quantum cascade is too unpredictable. Unpredictable, you say? Chen's eyes lit up with that distinctive human gleam that had come to both fascinate and terrify the Meridians. Raj, what if we treated this like that time? The quantum kitchen tried to merge with the game room. Chief Engineer Kumar's voice crackled over the comm. You mean the great Monopoly microwave incident? Captain, that's brilliant. We just need to introduce enough controlled chaos to stabilize the quantum fluctuations. I don't understand, Zarix admitted, their crystalline form flickering with confusion. It's simple, Chen explained, though her definition of simple had long since parted ways with the rest of the galaxies. When systems get too orderly, they become brittle. But introduce just the right amount of chaos. She gestured to her crew. Time to deploy the emergency party supplies. The next hour was a blur of activity that would later require 17 different footnotes in the official report. The U.S. Serendipity's crew modified their frozen yogurt reactor to generate quantum-stabilized bubble bath foam. Dr. Patel used a deck of cards to calculate probability matrices for subspace harmonics. Lieutenant Wong reprogrammed the navigation systems to treat the anomaly like the Rainbow Road level, complete with power-ups. Are they playing party music to the quantum vortex? Felix asked in disbelief. Indeed, the humans had begun broadcasting what they called the ultimate dance mix into the anomaly. The quantum readings started to stabilize in time with the beat. The anomaly is responding to the chaos, Kumar reported excitedly. Quick, we need more entropy. Deploy the emergency glitter. Glitter? Zarix questioned, just as a cloud of iridescent particles erupted from the Serendipity's modified sensor array. Quantum-enhanced party glitter, Chen corrected, mixed with a little bit of that weird residue from the replicator's pocket universe experiment. Trust me, chaos loves shiny things. To everyone's amazement, except perhaps the humans, it worked. The anomaly began to dance to the music, its quantum structure reorganizing itself around the controlled chaos the humans had introduced. The glitter created microscopic focal points of quantum uncertainty, each one helping to stabilize the larger field. Now, Chen announced, for the final. Raj, fire up the quantum karaoke cannon. The Meridian scientists watched in stunned silence as the combined power of human party supplies, frozen yogurt quantum mechanics, and synchronized dance moves pulled the fabric of reality back into alignment. As the last echoes of "Don't Stop Believin'" faded from space, Zarix turned to Captain Chen. Your species, they said slowly, just saved 3 solar systems with a dance party. Sometimes the best solution is the least logical one, Chen grinned. Besides, the anomaly just needed to let loose a little. Everything gets stressed when it's trying too hard to maintain perfect order. In the aftermath, as human and Meridian crews celebrated their victory with quantum-stabilized frozen yogurt and interdimensional pizza, Zarix made a decision that would change the course of galactic history. Perhaps, they announced, it is time for the Meridian Empire to establish a permanent cultural exchange program with Earth. Clearly, there are things about the universe that can only be understood through the lens of human chaos. Excellent idea, Chen agreed. We can start with game night. Ever played Jenga with quantum blocks? As the celebration continued, Dr. Patel was already teaching a group of Meridian scientists how to play poker with quantum-entangled cards, while Kumar explained to fascinated engineers how they'd accidentally created a stable time loop using a rubber band ball and 3 paper clips. The universe, it seemed, had a sense of humor after all. And maybe, just maybe, that was exactly what it needed.